Hello and welcome to section 3.7, which is on equations of lines in the coordinate plane. Those of you that had me in 8th grade should remember quite a bit of this, or at least it should sound familiar. So slope, which is always the m in the equation, is the rise over the run of a line. It's the vertical change over the horizontal change. And so the equation for it looks like this. And all that's really saying is, because the y's on a coordinate plane move you up and down, you take the y minus the other y and put it over the top of the x minus the other x. Some of them might be top heavy, they might be negatives, they might be whole numbers. I mean, it just depends how this comes out when you divide it out. I'm going to do an example with you right now. So it's always rise over run. Okay, how much it's going up and down over how much it's going left and right. So when you're doing it, you always start at the left and go towards the right when you're looking at the graph. So your first y will always be the one on the left. So what is the slope of the line containing points 1, -3, and 4, 2? And so if I use this little equation right here, not equation, formula, here's how I do it. So I'm going to take my y's first, and it doesn't really matter which one you use first. I say y2 minus y1, that's what it is. It doesn't really have to be the second one, it doesn't matter. You're going to end up with the same answer. So I'm going to take my y2, which is here, minus my y1, so minus a minus 3, and I'm going to put that over the top of my x1, which is here, or excuse me, x2, so 4 minus my x1, which is 1. And so here I have to remember that minus a minus becomes plus a plus, so it's actually 2 plus 3 is 5. 4 minus 1 is 3, so my slope is 5/3. So that equals m. It's my slope. There are 4 different types of slope. Again, they should look familiar a little bit. Positive slope will always start over here at the left and go uphill to the right. Negative slope will start there, start at the left, up high and go down. Zero slope is always it's just a straight line, like right here. There is no up and down, so there's a 0 on top of the fraction. So it'd be 0 over something, that's 0. Undefined would be straight up and down like this, because there is rise. So let's say you had 5, and then there's no run though, because it doesn't go left over right. 5 over 0 is not a real number. You can't even do that mathematically. You can't divide by 0. So it's undefined is what we would call that. So slope, we have 2 different forms that we can write the equation in for slope. The slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Again, the m will always be the slope. The slope is always in front of the x. You probably remember me saying that before. The slope in front of the x. The m's in front of the slope, always. The m is the slope. The m's in front of the x. B equals the y-intercept, and I will remind you what that means when I show you a coordinate graph here in a second. The point slope form, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1 in parentheses. Again, the m is the slope. The m will always be the slope. The x1, y1 is a point on the line, and then the y and the x just have to be there. It's part of the formula. Again, I'm going to do several examples here with you, so it'll make more sense. So here, if I want to graph this equation, y equals 3x minus 4. There is a shortcut to do it, using the slope and the intercept. And so because I know that 3 is my slope and -4 is my intercept, how do I know it's -4? Because the equation is supposed to say plus. Therefore, if it says minus, this is a -4. So this number right here is your y-intercept. This is your y-axis. This is your x-axis. So if I'm going to graph this, this is the first number I look at. That's where it crosses the y-axis. So it crosses at -4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Crosses right there. So that's the intercept. And then the 3 is my slope. It's rise over run, so it'd be 3 over 1. So from the point that I have on there, I'm going to go up 3 spots over 1 and put a point. Draw a line through the 2. There's my slope. excuse me, that is that equation graphed. Okay, so what did I do? I took the -4 and put it where -4 goes through the y-axis, and then the slope is 3, or 3 over 1. So from the left, from the point I just put on there, I go up 3 over 1. That is that equation on that graph. That's the shortcut. So here's another one. What is the equation of the line with a slope of -1/2 and a y-intercept of 2? So I'm going to put it in y equals mx plus b form. Therefore, y will equal my slope of -1/2, so -1/2, and the x always goes after the slope. The y-intercept is 2. It's positive 2, so I go plus 2. There is my equation. Done. As long as I understand that the slope will always be right here in front of the x, and the intercept will always be right here, I should be able to put that into that equation. What is the equation of the line through the point -1, 4 with the slope of -3? So this one, because they give me a point and the slope, I'm going to use the point slope form for this one, which is y minus y1 equals m, and then parentheses x minus x1. That's what form it should look like. So y minus my y1, which is 4. I only have one y. So 4 equals, my slope is -3. Put that where the m is at, right here in this equation. Parentheses, the x has to be there. It's part of the formula, part of the equation. Now, the problem with this one is, look at this. The x is -1. And this is supposed to say minus x1. Okay, but you're minusing a minus, so this actually becomes plus 1. There's my answer. I'm just plugging the x and the y in, and the slope. Here's the y, here's the x, here's the slope. This one requires a little bit more thought. What is the equation of the line that goes through 2 points? So points -2, -1, and 3, 5. If all you start with is 2 points, the first thing you have to do is find the slope. So I'm going to go back and use the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I have 5 minus a -1 for my y's right there. And I have a 3 minus a -2 for my x's. So 5 minus a minus becomes plus a plus, plus a plus. So 6/5 is my slope. And so if I want to write it in y equals mx plus b form, I write y equals 6 over 5. Actually, unless I graph this one, I can't do the intercept, right? The slope-intercept form, I don't have what I need. So I'm going to put it in point-slope form. I could do this, but I don't want to go into that detail right now. So we're going to forget this. We're going to put it in the other form. So y minus, and I'm just going to use this point first. It'd be a plus 1 because the y is a -1, equals my slope of 6/5 times x, and then my x is a -2 right there, so it becomes plus 2. Now keep in mind I have 2 points here, so I could actually use either point when I do this. So you could actually go y minus 5 equals 6/5 x, and then my x is 3, so it'd be a -3. So either one of these would work because I can use either point. Keep in mind I can actually put it in the point slope form as well, but then I would have to find the y-intercept to be able to do that. So this one, what are the equations for the horizontal and vertical lines through 4, -3? So 4, -3. So my x is 4, my y is -3. And that's actually, that is the equation. That's all there is to it. What are they talking about? Look at this. Where does my x equal 4? Right here. So that's the equation for that, where x equals 4. Where is y equal to -3? Right here. That's the equation for that line, y equals -3. There is no slope on either one, right? It's just the x and the y value. So you're done with those. So bring that knowledge with you. We will talk about it more next time I see you. Have a good night.